Race the first part of your story with a fresh, dynamic, and intense approach. It'll ensure every part is unique, filled with twists, and emotionally gripping. Ashley walked through the door, laughing. Not just a small chuckle, a full, careless laugh, like she had just heard the funniest joke in the world. She was still wearing the outfit she had left in. A navy blue blazer, tight pencil skirt, heels that made her a few inches taller. Her hair was flawless, her lipstick perfect. 3 days away on a business trip, and she looked like she had just stepped out of a high-end bar, not a long-haul flight. I was sitting at the kitchen table, waiting. Her suitcase rolled over the hardwood floor as she strutted in. God, I am so exhausted, she sighed, dropping her purse on the counter. She didn't even look at me. Her phone was in her hand, fingers moving fast, probably texting someone. I didn't say a word. Not yet. Ashley finally looked up, noticing how quiet it was. Her eyes flicked over to me, then finally to the framed photo on the table. The one I had placed there on purpose. Her smile froze. It was a picture of us from 3 years ago on our anniversary. We were holding hands standing in front of the cabin we had rented for the weekend. Back when I thought we were happy. But I had slid something else into the frame, just barely sticking out. A printed screenshot. She saw it. She saw him. Her face drained of color so fast it was almost impressive. I leaned forward, slowly resting my arms on the table. How was your business trip? Ashley blinked fast, fingers tightening around her phone. Good. A second too late. Busy. Tiring. You know how it is. I nodded. Yeah? I reached for the frame, tilting it toward her. Then explain this. She hesitated, and that hesitation was all I needed. Her eyes darted to the paper. The text messages I had found. The photo someone had sent me. Ashley sitting across from some man at a dimly lit restaurant, leaning in way too close, laughing at something he said. Silence. Then, suddenly, are you serious? Ashley scoffed, actually had the audacity to roll her eyes. You're spying on me now? Going through my stuff? I kept my voice calm. Too calm. Who is he? She exhaled sharply, like I was the one frustrating her. Oh my God. It's a coworker. Work dinner. Are you really this insecure? I slid my phone across the table. You call this a work dinner? She glanced at the screen, and now her fingers actually twitched. She saw what I saw. The next photo. The one where he had his hand on her thigh. And her own hand? Resting right on top of his. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. For the first time since she walked in, Ashley didn't have an answer. Ashley blinked rapidly, her brain scrambling for something, anything to say. The confident, smug attitude from seconds ago was gone, replaced by something else. Not guilt, not remorse. No, she looked like a gambler caught mid-bluff, desperately trying to figure out if she could still win the hand. She took a slow step forward, lowering her voice like we were suddenly on the same team. Look, she started, placing her hands on the table, fingers splayed. You're blowing this way out of proportion. I didn't say anything, just let her talk. Ashley sighed, flicking her gaze toward the ceiling as if I was exhausting her. All right. She sat down across from me, crossing her legs. If you're so convinced something happened, then fine. Let's talk about it. Ask me whatever you want. Her voice was smooth, too smooth. It was a trick. She was trying to take control, flip the conversation so she could spin some story that would make me question myself instead of her. I leaned back in my chair. Who is he? A coworker. She answered instantly, like it was rehearsed. We were just grabbing dinner after a long day. I didn't think I had to check in with you every 5 seconds. You let your coworkers put their hands on you like that? I nodded toward the photo, still sitting on the table between us. Ashley barely glanced at it. It wasn't like that. You look pretty comfortable for it not to be like that. Oh my God. She groaned, rubbing her temples. It was just a moment. A dumb, harmless moment. He was telling me about his divorce and how he hadn't been on a date in years, and I was just being friendly. I stared at her. Friendly? Yes. She threw her hands up. I wasn't thinking. I was being nice. You know how I get when people vent to me? You mean when men vent to you? That shut her up for half a second. I watched as the gears in her head turned, her expression flickering between irritation and calculation. Then she tried something else. Ashley reached for my hand. Baby, come on. She cooed, voice soft now, warm and pleading. I love you. I would never, ever do something to hurt you. This is ridiculous. You're letting your imagination run wild. My hand didn't move. She squeezed it gently, tilting her head, eyes big and sad. You trust me, don't you? I exhaled slowly. Open your phone. Her fingers twitched, just slightly. What? Your phone, I said again, nodding toward it. Unlock it. Let me see your messages with him. A full beat of silence. Then, are you serious right now? Ashley let go of my hand like I had just burned her. That is so invasive. I can't believe you're even asking me that. I tilted my head, studying her. Why? Why? She barked out a sharp laugh. Because it's my phone. My privacy. You don't get to go through my personal stuff just because you're feeling insecure. There it was again. That same word. Last chance, I said quietly. Open it or I walk out of this room knowing exactly what that means. Ashley scoffed. Oh my God. You are so dramatic. Fine. You want my phone? Here. Asterisk, she grabbed it and pressed the screen, then froze. Her face went pale. Because the screen was already unlocked. And I saw everything. For a single, stretched out moment, neither of us moved. The phone sat in Ashley's hand, screen glowing, damning. I didn't even have to take it from her, I could already see enough. The messages, the notifications, the name at the top of the thread. Brandon. She sucked in a sharp breath as if she had just realized her mistake. Then, without warning, she tilted the phone away and locked the screen. Too late. Ashley. My voice was steady, but there was an edge to it now. Give me the phone. No. She yanked it back, gripping it like it was a lifeline. This is ridiculous, I shouldn't even have to defend myself. Give me the fucking phone, Ashley. Her jaw clenched. No. Because if I do, you're just going to twist everything into something it's not. My patience snapped. I shot up from my chair so fast it scraped against the floor, my heart pounding. So there is something. She flinched. Just barely. But it was enough. That was all the confirmation I needed. Ashley had always been good at lying. Not in an obvious way, no, she was too smart for that. Her lies were subtle. They came wrapped in half-truths, dipped in just enough reality to make you doubt yourself. She didn't get caught because she knew how to gaslight before the term ever became popular. But this was sloppy. This was panic. She pushed back from the table, standing up like she had somewhere to run. You are being insane right now. You don't trust me? Fine. Then maybe that says more about you than it does about me. I let out a slow, humorless laugh. You're seriously trying to flip this on me? I don't have to try, she shot back, voice sharpening. Look at you, freaking out over nothing. Spying on me? Demanding to see my phone. Do you even hear yourself? This isn't normal behavior. I stepped closer. Neither is cheating on your husband. Boom. Her entire face froze. For the first time since she walked in, she didn't have a comeback. She just stood there, mouth slightly open, phone clenched in her white-knuckled grip. Her breathing was faster now, her chest rising and falling with every sharp inhale. I could almost hear the war happening inside her head. Should she double down? Keep denying? Should she start crying? Should she fake anger? I waited. Then suddenly, without another word, she turned. She spun on her heel and marched out of the kitchen. I followed. Where are you going? She didn't answer. She stormed through the hallway past the living room straight toward the stairs. Ashley, but before I could grab her wrist, she bolted up the stairs. And that's when I knew. She wasn't running to escape. She was running to delete. I tore up the stairs after her. Ashley was fast, but I was faster. I grabbed her wrist mid-step, yanking her backward just as she reached the landing. She yelled, stumbling, her phone nearly slipping from her grasp. Let me go, she screeched, twisting in my grip. But I wasn't letting go. Not now. Not when the truth was right there. Locked inside that screen she was so desperate to erase. You're deleting the messages. Aren't you? My voice was cold. You're crazy, she spat, jerking her arm. You're hurting me. I wasn't. Not even close. But I released her anyway, watching as she clutched her wrist dramatically, her eyes wild. Then, just as I expected, she bolted. Straight for the bedroom. I was on her heels instantly. She slammed the door shut behind her. But I caught it just before it latched, shoving my way inside. Ashley was already at the nightstand, fingers flying over her phone screen. I lunged. She let out a shriek as I grabbed the phone from her hands, nearly knocking over the lamp in the process. She lunged back, grabbing my arm, her nails digging in. Give it back, she screamed. That's mine. I pushed her off. Ashley stumbled backward, crashing onto the bed, her hair a tangled mess around her furious face. I turned my back on her, gripping the phone. Locked. Of course. I held it up, looking her dead in the eye. Unlock it. No. She shook her head violently, her breath coming fast. You're out of your mind if you think I'm letting you unlock it, Ashley. My voice was low now. Dangerous. Her chest rose and fell. She hesitated. Then, to my absolute lack of surprise, she laughed. Laughed. Not a real one, a sharp, bitter scoff, like she couldn't believe this was happening. Then she sat up, fixing her skirt, her face twisting into something ugly. You know what? She said, tilting her head. Go ahead. Keep the phone. Read whatever you want. But you're not going to like what you see. I didn't blink. You just admitted it. Did I? She raised an eyebrow. Or did you just hear what you wanted to hear? I clenched my jaw, shaking my head. You're unbelievable. And you're pathetic. She folded her arms, her voice dripping with venom. Freaking out like this. Acting like the world is ending because some guy, what? Took me out to dinner? Touched my leg? She let out a mocking scoff. Grow up. Something inside me snapped. I turned away from her, gripping the phone so tight my fingers ached. My pulse pounded in my ears, my vision swimming with red-hot anger. But then, suddenly, I saw something. A notification. One she must have missed in her panic. Right there at the top of the screen before it fully locked. A message. From Brandon. Miss you already. That was the best weekend of my life. I froze. The room around me blurred, the words burning into my brain. And Ashley? She saw it too. And for the first time, she looked scared. Silence. A thick, suffocating silence filled the room, stretching between us like a loaded gun just waiting to go off. Ashley's face changed in real time. The smug arrogance crumbled, her lips parting, her breath hitching as her eyes darted to the notification she hadn't managed to delete in time. Miss you already. That was the best weekend of my life. My grip on the phone tightened. I didn't move, didn't speak. I just stared at those words, letting them sink into my bones like poison. Weekend. Not dinner. Not drinks after work. A weekend. And it was the best of his life. I exhaled slowly, my pulse pounding so hard I could feel it in my skull. I turned the phone, holding it up between us like evidence in a courtroom. Say it again. My voice was low, calm in a way that wasn't really calm at all. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I'm imagining things. Ashley swallowed hard, her tongue darting out to wet her lips. She was scrambling. I could see the gears turning, working overtime to figure out how the hell she could still spin this in her favor. That's not what it looks like, I laughed. A dry, humorless sound. Are you out of your **ing mind? I took a step forward. You're still gonna sit there and lie to my face? A weekend, Ashley? My voice rose, sharp and cutting. A whole goddamn weekend? Where? When? Or let me guess, you were working late, right? Just another business trip? She flinched. The mention of the trip sent a fresh wave of panic through her. I nodded slowly, like I had just solved some impossible puzzle. That's it, isn't it? It wasn't a business trip at all. Ashley opened her mouth, shut it. Her breathing had changed now, coming faster, shallower. Her chest rose and fell, her hands gripping the edge of the bed like she needed to hold onto something. Then finally she broke. Fine. Her voice cracked on the word. Fine. You want the truth? She threw up her hands. Yes. I lied. Okay? Are you happy now? Happy? Happy? I let out a slow breath, pressing my tongue against the inside of my cheek. Wow. Ashley groaned, shoving off the bed, pacing the room now like she was the one who needed to cool off. God, I cannot believe this is happening right now. I just watched her. You can't believe this is happening? She turned to me furious. I told you the truth. What more do you want from me? I let out a bitter laugh. You told me the truth because you got caught. Not because you actually felt bad about it. That's not fair. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. Fair? Fair? You want to talk to me about fair? Ashley? I held up the phone again. How about you tell me what's fair about me sitting at home for 3 days thinking my wife was at some conference, when really, she was in a hotel room with another man. Her jaw clenched. It wasn't like that. I scoffed. Then how was it? Please enlighten me. She exhaled sharply, running both hands through her hair. It was a mistake. I raised an eyebrow. A mistake? Yes, she snapped. I wasn't thinking. One thing led to another, and one thing led to another. I repeated, shaking my head. You don't just accidentally spend a whole goddamn weekend with someone. Ashley. She groaned again, tilting her head back toward the ceiling like she was the one who had the right to be frustrated. I was going to tell you. I laughed, loud and sharp. Bullshit. Asterisk, her eyes snapped to mine. When? After your next business trip? Maybe at our anniversary dinner? Oh no, wait. Maybe you were just waiting for me to find out on my own like I just did. She let out a sharp breath. You know what? Maybe I wouldn't have needed to find comfort somewhere else if you actually paid attention to me. The words hit like a bullet to the chest. I went completely still. Ashley's own face froze, like she had just realized what the hell had come out of her mouth. But it was too late. I stepped forward, slow and deliberate. Say that again. She swallowed. I didn't mean say it again, Ashley. She shook her head quickly. I was just upset, I didn't mean that. But she did. And we both knew it. I stood there, staring at her, the weight of her words settling into my chest like cement. Maybe I wouldn't have needed to find comfort somewhere else if you actually paid attention to me. That was it. That was her excuse. Not an apology. Not remorse. Not regret. Just a pathetic, selfish attempt to pin this on me. Like her cheating was somehow my fault. I let out a slow, measured breath. That's what you're going with? My voice was quieter now, but heavier. Ashley shifted on her feet, her arms crossing over her chest. I didn't mean it like that. Then how did you mean it? I stepped forward, my eyes locked on hers. Because from where I'm standing, it sure as hell sounds like you're blaming me for your affair. I'm not. She snapped, then exhaled sharply, shaking her head. God. This is all coming out wrong. I huffed out a humorless laugh. You think? Ashley squeezed her eyes shut for a second, pressing her fingers to her temples. She was unraveling now, and I could see it. All the sharp confidence, the dismissive arrogance. It was cracking, breaking apart in real time. She looked at me again, her expression shifting. Look, can we just... She took a step closer, her voice softening. Can we just sit down and talk about this like adults? I let out a bitter laugh. Now you want to talk? Now that you've been caught? I should have told you sooner, she admitted, looking away for a second. I should have. I don't know, handled this differently. Handled this differently? My jaw clenched. Ashley, do you even hear yourself? You're talking like you just messed up a work project, not like you destroyed our marriage. Her eyes flashed at the word. Marriage. Like it was the first time she actually stopped to consider what she had put on the line. I stepped back, dragging a hand down my face. My pulse was still hammering, my breath tight in my chest. She had cheated. She had lied. And now that she had no way out, she was doing what she always did, damage control. Trying to rewrite the story, soften the impact, make herself the victim. And the worst part? She actually thought it might work. It didn't mean anything, Ashley said suddenly. I barked out a laugh, shaking my head. Oh, that's rich. I mean it. She stepped forward again, reaching for my hand. It was just a stupid mistake. A moment of weakness. I swear to you, it's not serious. It never was. I yanked my hand away before she could touch me. So what? I narrowed my eyes. You're telling me you spent a whole weekend with this guy, but what? You were just sitting in separate beds reading books? Give me a break. She exhaled, frustrated, shaking her head. You're not even trying to listen, no, Ashley. My voice sharpened. I have listened. I listened when you walked through that door laughing like you didn't have a care in the world. I listened when you looked me in the eyes and lied to my face. And now? Now I'm done listening. Her mouth opened, then closed. For the first time, she looked afraid. Like she had finally realized that there was no way out of this. No smooth talking, no manipulation, no clever twist that could flip this back on me. I took a deep breath, then finally spoke the words that had been sitting on my tongue since the second I saw that message. I want a divorce. The color drained from her face so fast it was almost impressive. Wait, no. I shook my head. We're done, Ashley. You made sure of that the second you chose him over me. It wasn't like that. It doesn't matter anymore. Her lips parted, her chest rising and falling rapidly. Panic set in, creeping into her expression, widening her eyes. Please, let's just no. And this time it was final. Ashley's entire body tensed, her breathing sharp and uneven. She blinked rapidly as if she could somehow reset reality by sheer force of will. But she couldn't. The words were already out there. I want a divorce. She stepped toward me, hands raised like she was trying to stop a train from crashing. Baby, I scoffed. Don't even try it. Her mouth clamped shut. Good. I turned away, running a hand through my hair, trying to force my heartbeat to slow down. I had said it. I had made the decision. It was the only thing that made sense. I wasn't going to let her gaslight me, manipulate me, or twist this into something it wasn't. She had chosen to betray me. She had chosen him. But Ashley? She wasn't done. You don't mean that, she said quickly. I let out a humorless laugh. Oh, I mean it. No, you don't. She shook her head frantically. You're just angry. You're saying things you don't mean. I get it, I messed up. But we can fix this. I turned back to her, eyebrows raised. Fix this? Yes. Her hands gestured wildly. This doesn't have to be the end. We can go to therapy. We can talk this through. You can yell at me, scream at me, whatever you need. Just don't throw away everything we have over. I cut her off with a sharp glare. You threw it away. Not me. Ashley's jaw clenched. I made a mistake. No, Ashley. My voice was cold. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is backing into someone's car. A mistake is not lying to my face for 3 days while you let some guy call a weekend with you the best of his life. She inhaled sharply, her nails pressing into her palms. I never stopped loving you. I let out a bitter chuckle. That's not love. It is. She insisted, her voice rising. I was lost, okay? I was feeling disconnected and Brandon was there and I held up a hand. Stop saying his name. She exhaled harshly, gripping her hair in frustration. You don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly. I stared her down. You wanted to have your cake and eat it too. You wanted me at home playing the role of the perfect husband while you ran off and played out whatever fantasy you had with him. You wanted the comfort of our life but the thrill of something new. Asterisk, her lips pressed together so tightly they turned white. Because I was right. She didn't care about Brandon. Not really. He was a distraction. A shiny new toy that made her feel special, wanted, desired. But now? Now the real consequences were crashing down and she was terrified. You can't just walk away from this, she whispered. I tilted my head. Why not? You did. Ashley stepped closer again. Her voice trembling now. No longer angry. Desperate. I don't want to lose you. I let that hang in the air for a second. Then I looked her right in the eyes and said, you already did. A sound escaped her lips. Something between a gasp and a sob. But I didn't stay to watch her break down. I turned around and walked out of the room. And this time, she didn't follow me. I walked down the hallway, my footsteps echoing in the suffocating silence. My hands were shaking, my pulse still hammering in my ears, but I refused to stop. I refused to turn around. I had made my decision. I was done. But behind me, I could hear Ashley moving. For a moment, I thought she was going to let me go. That maybe, just maybe, she had enough self-awareness to realize there was no coming back from this. But no. She still had fight left in her. Or maybe not fight. Maybe it was just fear. Because now that she knew I wasn't playing her game anymore, she was losing control. And Ashley? She had never done well with losing control. I had barely reached the bottom of the stairs when I heard her voice. Wait. I didn't stop. Where are you going? She called after me. I grabbed my keys off the counter. Out. Out where? I ignored her, heading straight for the door. Are you serious right now? Her voice climbed higher. I could hear the panic creeping in. You can't just storm off like this. I paused with my hand on the doorknob. Watch me. She rushed down the stairs, her bare feet slapping against the hardwood. You're not even going to talk to me? You're just gonna leave? I turned to face her, my patience gone. Ashley, I've been talking to you. You just don't like what I'm saying. Her nostrils flared. You're overreacting. I laughed. A deep, bitter sound. I caught my wife lying to me about a business trip that was actually a romantic getaway with another man, and I'm overreacting? She threw up her hands. It wasn't romantic. I scoffed. Really? Then explain Brandon's text. I mocked his words, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Miss you already. Best weekend of my life. Sounds pretty damn romantic to me. Her jaw clenched. I already told you it didn't mean anything. I took a slow, deliberate step toward her. To you? Maybe. But to him? I shook my head. Nah. That man thinks he's in love with you. She hesitated, just for a second, but I saw it, and that told me everything. I let out a slow exhale. You're still talking to him, aren't you? Her face twisted. Oh my God, you're being insane right now. Just answer the question. Silence. She didn't deny it. She didn't even try. And that was enough. I nodded to myself, my chest rising and falling as the final nail in the coffin slammed shut. That's all I needed to know. I turned back to the door. You're just gonna walk away? She yelled. Like a coward? I froze. Slowly, I turned back, staring her down with nothing but cold, exhausted detachment. I'm not the coward here, Ashley. She swallowed, her throat moving. You know what? She spat, her voice shaking now. Fine, go. But don't think for a second that you're some innocent victim in all this. Maybe if you had actually put in effort, I wouldn't have needed to look somewhere else. There it was. The final card she had left to play. She was blaming me. I felt something inside me click. A strange, detached calm settled over me, replacing the fury, the heartbreak. I stepped forward, closing the space between us. Say that again. Ashley hesitated, shifting back slightly. Go on, I said, my voice dangerously quiet. Say it again. Say that I pushed you to cheat. Say that this is my fault. Her lips parted. She didn't say it. She couldn't, because even she knew it was a lie. I nodded slowly. Yeah, that's what I thought. I reached for the door, and this time I walked out. The night air hit me like a slap to the face, cold, sharp, and sobering. I stood on the porch for a second, inhaling deeply, trying to slow my breathing. My hands were still shaking, my skin felt too tight, and my mind was racing, replaying every single moment of that conversation. Every word, every lie. I had walked out. I had actually walked out. Ashley was still inside, probably pacing, probably still fuming, probably already trying to figure out what move to make next. She was strategic like that. Always thinking 2 steps ahead, always ready with an angle. But this was different. Because for once, she had no control. I climbed into my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles ached. I stared at the dashboard, my pulse still pounding. I could still hear her voice in my head, dripping with arrogance 1 second and desperation the next. Maybe if you had actually put in effort, I wouldn't have needed to look somewhere else. The audacity. The sheer, unbelievable audacity of that statement. I had loved her. I had done everything right. I had been patient, loyal, understanding. I had put in the effort. But none of it mattered. Because the truth was that Ashley had wanted more. More excitement. More attention. More of something she couldn't even define. And she thought she could just throw the blame on me and walk away clean. I let out a slow breath, reaching into my pocket for my phone. I pulled it out, my fingers hovering over the screen. I needed to talk to someone. Not Ashley, not now, but someone. My thumb hesitated over the contacts list. Who the hell was I supposed to call? My brother? A friend? Someone from work? Then, before I could decide, my phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen. Ashley. I exhaled sharply through my nose, shaking my head. Of course, she wasn't done. I let the call ring out. A second later, another buzz. A message. Come back inside. We need to talk. No, there was nothing left to say. I stared at the message for a long second, then locked my phone and tossed it onto the passenger seat. I started the car, the engine roaring to life beneath me, vibrating through my bones. I needed to go. Somewhere. Anywhere. I pulled out of the driveway, my mind still spinning. My body was wired, my hands gripping the wheel too tight. My jaw clenched like I was holding something back. I should have felt better. I had made the decision. I had walked out. But there was still something clawing at me, something unsettled. Then suddenly, my phone buzzed again. I glanced at the screen, and this time, it wasn't Ashley. It was a number I didn't recognize. But the message. You finally know the truth. I'm sorry you had to find out like this. My stomach dropped. I swerved the car onto the side of the road, my heart hammering against my ribs. My hands fumbled with the phone as I unlocked it, my mind racing. Who the hell was this? Then another message. She's been lying to both of us. My breath hitched. Both of us. I swallowed hard, my fingers tightening around the phone. I typed back quickly. Who is this? The reply came almost instantly. Brandon. I stared at the screen, my pulse hammering so hard I could feel it in my throat. My whole body had gone still, my fingers frozen around the phone as my brain tried to process what I was looking at. Brandon. The name I had seen in her messages. The man she had spent the weekend with. The man who had been with my wife. And now for some reason he was texting me. I forced myself to breathe, forced my hands to stop shaking long enough to type a response. Why the hell are you texting me? 3 dots appeared almost instantly. He had been waiting for this. Because I just found out the truth too. And I think we both deserve to know what kind of person Ashley really is. I clenched my jaw, my grip on the phone so tight it ached. What the hell did that mean? I stared at the message for a second before typing back. Spit it out. Another response. She told me you two were separated. My blood ran cold. I blinked at the words, my vision going blurry at the edges, my breath coming sharper. Separated. Ashley had told him we were separated. Like our marriage had already been over. Like I was nothing more than a footnote in her past while she ran off to play happy couple with him for the weekend. I felt something inside me snap. My hands clenched into fists, my nails digging into my palms. My chest burned with a rage so white-hot it nearly blinded me. I thought I had already hit my breaking point back at the house. But no, this was worse. This was betrayal on a whole new level. Because it wasn't just the cheating. It wasn't just the lying. It was the way she did it. The ease with which she had rewritten reality to serve herself. The way she had discarded me before I had even known there was something to lose. My phone buzzed again. Another message. I wouldn't have touched her if I had known. That should have made me feel something, maybe relief, maybe validation. But all I felt was disgust. Disgust at her. Disgust at him. Disgust at myself for ever trusting her in the first place. I swallowed hard, my throat like sandpaper. I typed back, my fingers moving almost on their own. Why are you telling me this now? A pause. Then, because I confronted her about it. She admitted everything. And then she tried to tell me it didn't matter. I let out a sharp, bitter laugh. Of course she did. Because that was Ashley. Always deflecting. Always twisting things around. Always deciding for herself what did and didn't matter. My phone buzzed again. I broke it off with her. Good. I exhaled through my nose, shaking my head. It didn't matter. None of it mattered anymore. She was his problem now. I stared at the screen for a second longer, then typed out my final message. I don't care. Then I blocked his number. I sat there for a long moment, gripping the steering wheel, trying to let it all settle. Trying to absorb what had just happened. Ashley had lost everything tonight. Her lies had caught up with her. And for the first time since I had read that text, since I had placed that photo on the table and watched the color drain from her face, I felt something close to peace. I put the car in drive. And I left it all behind.